Okay, I love this question. Well, there's a lot you can do. You can, decluttering is a clean and declutter is sort of like the first line of defense. I think, especially for homeowners that have been living in their homes for 20, 30 years. I think people don't realize how much stuff they kind of have, and buyers do not want to see any personal items. And as benign as it might seem to you as the seller, they want to visualize themselves in the home. They want to see their own photos in the frame, not,
Yeah.
a couple of family photos is fine, but remove the stuffed animals from the kids' rooms, really give them a blank canvas because buyers just want to picture themselves. It's all about them when they're walking through the house.
Yeah. Hey there, and welcome to Money and You. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. My search for more fulfilling work led me to career and business coaching, where I stumbled upon a game-changing discovery. Money issues often start with our mindset and habits. You see, our relationship with money is the key to overcoming those frustrating financial obstacles. As an entrepreneur, coach, and problem solver, I'm passionate about helping you create a great relationship with money. Because, turns out, that's the foundation for a limit-free life. Each week on Money and You, I speak with amazing guests about all things money, mindset, practical tips, and everything in between. We're here to give you new insights, education, and empowerment so money can be one of your favorite relationships. So join us for some lively conversations and let's transform your financial life together. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Money and You Show. I'm super excited about today's show. We're going to talk real estate today with a wonderful expert who I've come to know, and I'm so excited for her to share her expertise. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a little background, and then we'll get started. So Laura Pozzarni, her extensive personal experience in the market, combined with the fact that she owns several residential and commercial investment properties throughout Los Angeles and California, makes her a perfect fit to represent you. As a true West Side native, born and raised in Brentwood, she has spent her life immersed in the heart of Los Angeles. She knows every trendy neighborhood, desirable street, and sought-after school district in the city. With a passion for marketing and a dynamic reach within the local community, she leverages strategic, targeted approaches to ensure maximum visibility for every property she represents. More importantly, her dedication to earning your business and ensuring your success is her absolute goal. She truly loves helping people. It's her gift, and she takes pride in guiding her clients through some of the biggest decisions of their lives. When she's not working, she enjoys mahjong, paddle tennis, skiing, and spending time at the beach with her family. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
I'm so happy
that was a great
to have you
intro.
here.
Where did you get that great intro?
I found it out there in the wide world web, as they used to call it. So, Laura, thank you for coming and being on the show today. I've been hoping to have you on for a long time because we met, and I just loved how passionate you were about what you do, and I don't know. I love how intimately you know your area. And so I feel like you're such an asset to people who are either buying or selling. And I've also wanted to have just a super frank conversation about real estate in general, because it's always a topic in LA. People are always talking about real estate.
So true.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to buy. I don't know if I'll ever, it's like this constant discussion. So I'd love for you to just kind of talk a little bit about how you got into it and how you acquired this passion for it.
Yeah. People in LA love to talk about real estate. Everyone wants to know what their home's worth, and they see the houses next door on the market, and they're wondering what that means for them. And, but I got into real estate a few years ago. I think it kind of started with my husband. Oops, I just kicked the screen. He has been in real estate for 25 years, and he would come home and bring stories home, and I would walk through deals with him. And I just found it so interesting and so fascinating and so engaging He is on the commercial side, so I would learn about other people's businesses because he would work with business owners, and um, I just loved all the stories, and I thought it was so interesting meeting new people. So I got my real estate license during COVID when my our daughter was going through kindergarten um, on Zoom, which
Oh,
was crazy
yeah.
because it was really actually sad for me. But
Yeah.
anyway, I was home because I had to be because she was on Zoom. So I just studied and got my license and I passed first time. And because I knew so much of the information already, I mean, I was at this point, I had been talking about real estate with my husband for so long and just it was so natural.
Yeah.
So I was basically, I've been under his tutelage for a while, for 4 years now, and I just instantly gravitated towards the residential market. It was like, it was like a magnet. Um, and I loved the product. I loved, just like everyone likes to talk about real estate, I loved doing it too, being in different neighborhoods and clients started, it just kind of worked. I got one client um, and people just were trusting me and rightfully so. I think my brand is about, it's a luxury lifestyle brand. And, you know, I don't know, it just really clicked for me. And I still work with my husband, which I think is crazy because a lot of people are like, how do you work with your husband?
Yeah, I could be one of
Um,
those people.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like, what? But he's very well known and he has, um, you know, he's been around a long time, very loyal client base. So it's actually worked a lot for me as well because he's able to refer business to me and I can actually refer business to him.
Very nice. Yeah, I love that. And I also love the fact that you like to sell homes in the area that you know really well because you know that just gives the clients so much inside information about what they might be getting into. So because the first time I met you, I was so impressed by how you described the area that you represent a lot. Not that you can't sell anywhere, but
Yeah, well, I was born in Brentwood, raised here. I went to high school in Santa Monica. Um, and this is just my backyard. And I've been raised, you know, uh, in a certain environment, and I'm just taking advantage of that, essentially.
yeah, yeah, and it's
And
great.
I'm not like going to be shy about it. I'm just going to take advantage and make it work to my advantage, which it has been. So this is how I was raised. I have like a certain pedigree, if you will, that puts me in the right place to be able to flourish. So why not just take that opportunity? And I think a lot of couples like trust my like trust my decision making and trust my opinion for
Yeah, yeah.
that fact. So
Well, and I kind of love the idea because I think a lot of your clients are, either families or family bound. They're getting there,
yes.
so you can speak as a person who grew up in that area. So
Yes.
And how it was.
Like I understand the lifestyle. I know about all the private schools. I know what areas you want to be in. I know where the shopping areas are good. I know, you want to be on this street and not that street. You want to be above this street but not that street. So there's a certain way about this West Side environment that you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to help sort of fulfill that for people and kind of put those pieces all together.
Yeah,
And it's super
and
fun.
I think it's an interesting time in real estate. All of a sudden, I mean, real estate for a while was kind of, I don't know, it felt easy, really. There was such a demand, and things were just really moving fast and at high prices, and things have shifted a little. And I think people are curious about what's going on right now and how. I mean, I'll just tell you from what I'm reading because I'm not in the space, but it sounds like it's more of a buyer's market right now. It sounds like things are taking a little longer to sell. and there's more inventory than we've had in a while. So that creates a different environment. So, I'd love your expert opinion on how people who want to sell, first of all, is there something going on with selling right now? Like, is there a reason people are there are more sellers than before? I mean, or maybe is that just
well, definitely I'm seeing a lot more inventory and definitely shifting to a little bit of a buyer's market. But the West Side is such a bubble. I mean, it's such a bubble. So the Palisades fires were very crucial for the real estate market right now. A lot of people are putting their homes on the market because they do see an advantage to, capitalizing on the fact that these people have been displaced and are capable of purchasing homes and will pay good money, especially in like those closest areas like Santa Monica and Brentwood.
Okay.
A little bit of Marina Del Rey and Venice as well, but Santa Monica and Brentwood the prices are really exploding. So the sellers are like, well, wait a minute, the time is now.
Okay.
So that's what I think is happening. So what's also happening is in the beginning after the fires, there was a rush of renting. It was mayhem.
Yeah.
Mayhem. People could not get in. It was crazy. So that slowed down. And now it's picking back up because those short-term leases are coming to an end and now people need to figure out what they're going to do.
Oh.
So people are considering buying. So you want to have your house on the market to be one of the people that are going to be considered.
Okay.
So the best way to know, I think the best way to know is just to put it on the market and see what happens.
Interesting. So you think some of what this inventory is about is people just kind of testing the waters?
Maybe. Yeah. A lot of people do that.
Interesting.
See what they can get. They can always say no. But, some of these homes north of Montana are going for outrageous prices. So people are that's where they want to live. They can't uproot their families. They're kind of in a situation.
Okay. So
they want to stay in LA. Yeah.
Yeah. So even though, maybe it's a little bit of a buyer's market, again, it's a bubble. So you're not seeing necessarily
and
prices coming down.
Sometimes a seller will have a home and then the home on the opposite side of the street will sell in one day, but then their home sits for months. And it's really that specific.
Okay. Interesting.
And so that's why I say like the best way to know is just to put it on the market, get it listed. And then, marketing is sort of another area where I really thrive. So that's where I like my creativity just like explodes. You've seen all my marketing on Instagram and my email newsletter. I have a monthly networking meeting that I host. And that's where you get some attention on your property. Get in the door, see it, fall in love. Hopefully you get multiples and you go close it over asking.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that I just ran into. As you know, we have an investment property that we put on the market, and it is a bit slow going, and it's a little out of your area. But we played around. We had one realtor who was, I don't know that this matters, but he was older. He was a little more established and set in his ways, and didn't do a lot of marketing. Now, I wasn't exactly sure why, but I think in his mind, he felt like he didn't need to. Now, I don't know if that's a holdover from, the last many years where people didn't need to do a lot or what. And then you came along and I asked you to look at it and you said, wow, this is what I would do. And I thought, well, that's kind of what I've been hoping to hear. And I think, part of it's understanding social media and some of the newer ways of marketing, but you also had the intention to do really nice open houses and things that it's part of it. And so it really opened my eyes to how different realtors approach the marketing. And
Yeah.
I guess I figured there was some formula that all realtors did, and I learned that that's not true.
some maybe because I'm a newer agent, I come with like a more like I'm just fresh, I'm excited. I have so much energy around what I'm doing. I
Yeah.
really love it. So I think that could be it. Some have been doing it this way for 100 years, and that's just how they do it. And so you need to ask those questions, and that's what I would advise your listeners is like just to ask like, what's your marketing? How do you do your marketing? Show me some examples.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're saying that to people. If somebody had said that to me before I did this, I would have been more skeptical about. But there was sort of a narrative that he was telling me about. We don't need to do any of these things. We don't need a sign. We don't need, and I was questioning it, but because I'm not a realtor, I didn't really know. So we had to go through a little time of like no
Sure.
activity to realize that the marketing that was needed was not happening. And so I do think, you should go into it with a marketing plan and somebody who has that mentality. So
Yeah, you can't just stick it on the MLS and spray and pray, like say a little prayer.
Yeah.
You need to like push it. You need to get on the phones, call your friends, call your contacts, get on your CRM, call people, like, push it, because there are a lot of properties. So you need to say, no, you need to look at this one. This is the one you should look at.
yeah, super interesting. And I wanted to ask you, for a seller or for somebody who might be considering putting their house on the market and wants it to, kind of rise above, the other things out there, what should a seller be thinking about? What should they be doing to get ready to sell?
Okay, I love this question. Well, there's a lot you can do. Decluttering is like a clean and declutter is sort of like the first line of defense. I think, especially for homeowners that have been living in their homes for 20, 30 years. I think it's, people don't realize how much stuff they kind of have, and buyers do not want to see any personal items. And as benign as it might seem to you as the seller, they want to visualize themselves in the home. They want to see their own photos in the frame, not,
Yeah.
a couple of family photos is fine, but remove the stuffed animals from the kids' rooms, really give them a blank canvas, because buyers just want to picture themselves. It's all about them when they're walking through the house.
Yeah.
So, and that's a hard conversation as a real estate agent to have with the seller, because I don't want to, they're their cherished memories and their home, and it's hard enough to sell a family home, for example. But, those are a good example. Also, updating like curb appeal, I always find to be a big money well spent, is to maybe spruce up the landscaping, give them, when they drive up and they're in the car with their husband or wife and the kids, and they're like, oh my God, I can see my friends coming over and us and just feeling so proud of this. What's another? So those are a couple of the things.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I think that both those things are so important. And, I kind of knew about the decluttering. I wouldn't have really thought about the front area, but you're right. When you first, it's first impressions, and you want to feel like you can visualize people coming to dinner at your house or whatever. So, yeah. Very good.
I think those are big. And, just like not, so not kind of removing the personal items.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's hard. It's hard.
It is hard.
Because it's personal.
That feels weird. I remember when we were told to do that many, many years ago. And yeah, it feels you get a little offended in a way. It's weird.
I understand that. I do. And for the buyer, when they're spending this kind of money, all they're thinking about is themselves.
Yeah.
And as people do, and that's their right
Yeah.
And so those are just tips. I think it helps. Um, and then, obviously like fresh updates to the bathrooms and kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are huge.
Yeah, and what if your kitchen or bath is pretty dated? Do you redo it? Or if you can't redo it, what can you do to kind of make it look better?
You can, again, take away personal items, just like plain white towels, keep it super clean. And then it depends on how outdated it is. You might just have that be a reflection of the price.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Or let them come to you with an offer and, discuss sort of those particulars.
Okay. And what are some of the things, and this is a harder question, so sorry, but
Yeah.
what are some of the things that maybe sellers do that they actually don't have to do? Because I feel like as non-realtors, we scurry around with our own thoughts in our head about what's needed, and maybe it's unnecessary. I don't know.
Well, some people opt for a pre-listing inspection report. So some sellers will run an inspection, have an inspector come and do an inspection just to see what might come up in what might come up for the buyer's inspection. And you want to like negate. I don't know if that actually answers your question. It's kind of the opposite. It's actually what to do. Maybe it's an option. You have to spend a little money to get an inspector to come out. And then you can see like how bad your roof is, how old your plumbing is, how's the drainage. If there's mold, you want to get those things cleared out of the way so you can get top dollar. So you don't have any objections.
Okay.
You're like, no, I've had the inspections done. There's no, okay, but that doesn't really answer your question.
Well, it's an interesting comment, though. And at first I thought it was going to answer the question because I thought you were going to say, don't bother to do that.
I mean, it's kind of smart if if your home is, but I mean, it kind of depends on the home. Every home's a little different.
Yeah. And I would kind of worry that maybe you get an inspector who says, you have all these problems, do all these things, and then the buyer's inspector comes along and either doesn't agree or, thinks something's fine. And then I don't know. Does that ever happen?
Yeah, I have not had that happen,
Okay.
but I think, that's like a conversation. I would be interested to know what an inspector would say.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think that's a great tip, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So, what about when the seller is just, and now from this experience I just had, I would recommend shopping for your realtor, not just, having conversations like you said, like what kind of marketing. And so, when people, when sellers are looking for a good realtor, what would you say they should be looking for?
I think someone with, good local knowledge, good handle on pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Pricing's really big. That's kind of actually how I'd answer that previous question, is what sellers not to do. Is what a lot of realtors struggle with is when they think their house is worth X, but the market tells them Y, and then it's challenging to get them to come down.
Mm-hmm.
So just to pay attention to what your realtor's saying about what the market's telling you. And the price will just be dictated by the market. So what was your last question?
Well, can we elaborate on that a little bit more, though? Because obviously pricing is a big deal. And so when you talk about the market, what should somebody be looking at? I mean, just comparable properties and what they've sold for, or is there more data that they should look at?
It's just pricing is so challenging. I mean, it just depends on where it's located. You can look at comps, but sometimes there just aren't comps for that specific home on a slope, on a slant, by this, north of this street.
Yeah.
You definitely can look at the comps, but sometimes there's maybe only one or two in the last 6 months, and you are just, you can start high and then lower quickly.
Okay. Okay.
Don't let it sit high. If it's not getting jumped on, lower quickly and then assess.
Okay. Okay. And when
it's a challenging question, yeah, but On the
Yeah.
west side, I feel like you can demand a lot, especially in Santa Monica and Brentwood,
Mm-hmm.
Venice,
Mm-hmm.
Marina. Um, you can demand a lot.
Okay, so there's no like stigma or anything associated with starting higher and then lowering it if you do it within a
No, people do it.
yeah.
People do it all the time.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
people start high. You're like, whoa. I mean, you see these things, you see these prices, and people are like, whoa. But I mean, things also sell at high prices. So you're like, well,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't I start high?
Yeah.
There's no downside. You can't go up, is the point.
Yeah. Okay.
You
Okay.
can't go up. You got to start high, swing for the fences, see what happens, but don't let it sit high. I would recommend reducing it quickly, like within a month, 2 weeks to a month. I mean,
Okay.
just move it along.
And why is that? What's the problem with letting it sit high?
I just think it makes you seem maybe unrealistic.
Okay. Okay.
And, you
Yeah.
know, um, I think that it's sort of, I just think it makes you look like maybe you're just not serious
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. Um, yeah.
or
So,
willing to negotiate or like really ready to get this thing sold.
okay. Well, and we talked for a minute at the beginning of the show that I wanted to kind of get into since we love to talk about your money mindset and your relationship with money. What I don't know. How should a seller set themselves up mentally for this process so they don't get discouraged? They don't want to throw in the towel and just like dump the price. And obviously,
Yeah.
some of it is their own circumstance. If they really need to sell within a certain time, they're in a different position than those people who are just putting it out there, to see.
Yeah.
But
It's a long process, and just know, the realtor wants to sell it as just as bad as you do. So that is they feel they like, so in a house is sitting, it's like everyone's like pained because you've lowered the price. You've had open house after open house. Sometimes properties just sit, and you just be patient. That's my best advice. If after a while it hasn't sold and you don't want to lower the price, then you have to remove it. But if you're, the money it's all about the price.
yeah, okay. And so
Everything will sell at a certain price.
oh, that's an interesting mindset. Okay.
But not that I recommend just keep lowering it, but some houses, I would say start it high, see how the market reacts, push your best marketing forward as soon as you launch, see how the world reacts, and then you keep assessing. You talk to your real estate agent. I mean, like if I have a listing, I'm on the phone with them like 3 days a week.
Yeah,
What's
right.
going on? Who calls have I had? What did they say? What was the feedback? Did they like it? Did they come back? I had this showing, so you're getting information in real time.
Yeah, which is huge. I mean, I know the difference now
Yeah.
because we got no information for a month when we hired the older person for our house, and then
I mean, you need to be like once it's live, until it's live, you don't really know what's going to happen.
yeah, okay, okay,
You don't. The market's going to tell you what it's worth, and it'll tell you the feedback, and you'll get information. Your agent should talk to other agents that come in with their clients and say, what was the feedback? And then, you kind of listen, learn, adjust, keep going. It's like a living, breathing thing.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like with anything with money, I mean, a sort of a sense of desperation around it is never a good thing. Like that is just a sort of a scarcity mindset that you should try to avoid. If you start feeling that, oh, it's never going to sell, and I'm just wasting my time here, and it's costing us money. I mean, all of these are sort of a negative set of things that we're saying to ourselves that don't help anything. And I think shifting that into having faith that the right buyer will come and the price will, it'll be the right price. If you have the leeway and the time and the ability to do that, to just, again, just like with anything else, to keep checking on, how you're how you're speaking to yourself about it, how you're speaking to others about it. I feel like all of that, putting it into the universe, it's important to have that faith. So
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you want to sell with confidence. And if you can, like kind of like what you said, if you have the ability to kind of give yourself a long runway, like don't put yourself up against the clock and say, we need to be, that's going to create the wrong mindset. So if you have a runway now that you're like, we have a few months, we don't need to we're just going to retire, or we don't, we're not that big of a rush. Give yourself as long a runway as you can, because it can take a while. But yeah, I mean, you try to give yourself the, give yourself an opportunity for success, and set yourself up for success, kind of like give yourself a long runway to see what's going to happen. And it could happen quickly. You don't know.
Right. Oh, absolutely. But what you're saying is really important too, because, you want to think this through ahead of time and make sure, depending on your employment situation and what's going on in your life, you want to plan for mortgage payments to continue for probably a more conservative amount of time than not. So, there is some planning. I mean, if your expectation is this house will sell in a couple of months and then it doesn't, you don't want to have a financial problem. So you want to plan ahead for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And you don't want to be panic pricing and giving, but I think a lot of people are confident in that, and they know, I think a lot of people on the West Side kind of understand that, and they know their home is an asset, and, they're very savvy about their assets and their money. So I think I don't run into that a lot.
I think actually that comment probably isn't as applicable to your demographic, but general sellers in all over the place. I think because I think we do have certain expectations, and we plan according to our expectations, and we don't want to go into a whole fear-based thing where you over plan, or you feel like you need to wait to sell until you have X number of months of money available to continue to pay if it doesn't work. I mean, you don't really want to anticipate it not working, but at the same time you want to be ready for what might happen, because you really don't know. It's interesting.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's, people move for jobs and things and have a bigger need to sell because they need to buy somewhere else. And I mean, there's every kind of scenario. But what I'm hearing,
or they're downsizing, or the kids moved out, or they're having more kids, or moving schools, or they have an au pair and they need a place for them, and it's.
That is what makes it fun and interesting, is to get to know people and their situations. And so I can see where that would be a fun experience to go through that.
It's like a puzzle. It's like a little puzzle.
It is a puzzle, and it's also this is a very important thing, in people's lives. And so, and you're part of that, so I can see where every realtor I've had has said, I'm part realtor, part therapist, part many things.
Firefighter.
So it's great. And then I just wanted to just touch on, any other changes or things going on today that you haven't seen maybe in a while or ever that are happening that are new and different that you'd want to share with people?
I really think the aftermath of the fires has caused such an explosion in the market, especially on the West Side. And so, it's an unprecedented time in that respect. It's just sort of a new time, and there's just so many new people out there looking for homes. There's just not enough out there, and it's challenging. But patience, and but there's a lot of movement, so it's not like hopeless or anything. I think there's great opportunities.
Yeah, and from what you're saying, the kind of positive takeaway that I'm having from hearing you talk is that as a seller, you do have control. You can play with things. You can make changes. You can, change the price. You can change a variety of things. But I feel like sometimes sellers have a sense of they're just out there floating around, riding the waves, hoping something happens. But you can be much more in control and have that sense of control than I think sometimes you feel.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I mean, you definitely have control, but I can understand that loss of control too, because again, you're sort of subject to the open market and what, the market will say what it wants. And as far as real estate agents go, I mean, we're a service business. So my job is really to service the seller, to give them what they want. I mean, a lot of times they know exactly what they want. They know exactly what they want to price it as. They hire me to market. They say, I know what I'm doing. I don't want to do the paperwork. I just want you to push it, market it, do the open houses. So some, it depends. Some clients need more strategic hand holding and some really don't. But that's really the fun of it.
Yeah. Okay. So you can have that conversation, and when they really know what they're doing and they know certain, things that they're ready to put out there, then you can support that basically.
Yeah. And like I said, a lot of the clients are very sophisticated. I mean, they're sophisticated. They've owned several homes and they know what to do. So you're there to advise and make sure, the paperwork is correct. Everything's done, on the up and legally done. And, the marketing is top notch, which is one of my strengths. And the negotiations are top notch. You have good relationships with other agents. Your negotiations can go well. And there's a lot of levers that you can pull with negotiating because of the inspections. And I mean, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. The negotiation is a huge part of it.
There, but
okay. So interesting. I love this. And so, yeah, I feel like I'm seeing the realtor, I guess, especially the seller's realtor, as much more of a marketer than I've ever thought about it before. So, yeah, very interesting to me.
Yeah, and then the seller enjoys that part too. Actually, they get involved, and it's, it can be fun. You're doing the videos and you're doing the home tours, and they see their home on Instagram, and it gives them some creative outlet too.
Yeah. Well, and so tell us a little about how people can find you. And I know you're on Instagram because I follow you on Instagram. But what are you putting out there and where?
I'm on my Instagram channel. It's Laura.Pizzarni, or you can follow me, or you can check me out on my website, pizzarnipropertygroup.com. I have a lot of videos. You can see my recent listings, sold listings. You can learn about me. I also host a monthly networking group called the Boss Breakfast, and you can register there. You can sign up for my newsletter. I'm really I love to connect with people. That's just sort of my gift. I'm a connector. I'm a helper. I love to just be a resource. So I would love to just have an opportunity to talk with you, see your home, or, consult with you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And so you're available if somebody is even thinking about selling now, down the road, whenever, for you to come on over and have a chat with them about.
Absolutely. Let me see your home, give you ideas on pricing, give you ideas on the marketing I would do, and hold your hand the entire way.
Yeah, that's great. That's very generous and very nice. And it also makes me think, if you don't need to sell now, but what's the ideal time frame to sort of identify that you want to sell so that you have some runway to fix things up, to think about it, to do research? I mean,
as far as if there's minimal upgrades to the house, I think a month is more than enough time you can bring a stager in, you can do a fresh coat of paint. Maybe have an organizer come and put some things in storage. It can be relatively quick. I could get it on faster, but
okay.
That's a leisurely pace.
Okay. That's interesting. I was going to think it was longer. Like in my case, I think if I were going to sell my home, there's a lot of things that I would want to do. I'd want to, paint the exterior and do all kinds of things before. So it would be.
Well, that's the thing. Like if you were thinking, that's where the consultation would come in when I come over to meet you, is that, we could discuss those things right away. And I have all the resources that you can use to, do those things.
Yeah, that's hugely helpful because a lot of times you know what you need to do, but you don't know the people to do those things. So that's great.
So I can assess on the spot and say what I think needs to be sort of taken care of or what rooms need to be staged, to keep the furniture looking fresh and bright and modern.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like it wouldn't be the worst idea for people to have a little home audit and just, whether you're thinking about selling or not, just have somebody like you come in and do that just so that,
absolutely,
at some point they might surprise themselves and want to sell, so anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Come check out your house. We can meet, talk, get to know each other, and, we can see where it goes.
Okay.
It's like dating.
It is like dating. Well, thank you so much. That's great information. And I think it's great to get an update too on what's happening in today's world with marketing, because it has changed. There are a lot of new things new tools you can use and things like that really help it along. So, yeah. Okay. Well, Laura, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure, and I really have enjoyed getting to know you, and I know you're a trustworthy and well-informed and, very dedicated realtor in.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think that's people would be lucky to work with you, and so I appreciate you coming on and sharing some of your insight.
Thanks for having me. This is so cool. I love it. I've always enjoyed talking to you. And let's do it again.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. Yeah, we'll get an update. There'll be more changes, I'm sure, and then we'll do another update here. So that's great. Yeah. Nice to have a real estate resource.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Okay. Well, thank you. And thank you, audience, for showing up for the Money and You show. We love it when you listen to the show and would still, enjoy a 5-star review or a rating. What am I saying? Ratings, reviews, all of that stuff that everybody needs for their show for it to prosper. And UBN Go, thank you so much. And love doing the show. Love having you show up for the show. And you can find us on the Limit Free Life YouTube channel and all the podcast platforms that you might be listening to. And we love the variety of guests and the variety of topics, and we hope you do too. If you have any interest in a particular topic and I can find some expertise in that area, you can reach out to me at michelle@limitfreelife.com. And you can also go to my website, limitfreelife.com, and sign up for my monthly newsletter blog and get regular information on what Limit Free Life is up to. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.